Hey guys, happy Thursday. I hope everyone's doing well out there. I have a hat on today because my hair is awful. It's actually like a hockey hat that I have. Don't like white hats. They show sweat like really easily, so I don't like wearing white hats very often, but it's pretty good. So I started that new Love one on Netflix. Don't No, it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't Netflix is reaching. It's not a very good premise for a reality TV show. I know they were going for drama in it, but it's not working. So I do not recommend. Do not recommend. Been watching a lot of like found footage. My favorite genre. Okay, back it up. My favorite genre of horror movies, like, because there's like so many different like subgenres within the genre. So my favorite like subgenre of horror movies is found footage. Hands down, found footage is my absolute favorite. And I know from the like the reason I love it so much is the Blair Witch Project, which you guys probably have not watched because it came out in the 90s, but I remember like it was such a big thing when it came out, and it was they thought it was so groundbreaking because the whole premise of the movie, right, is to make it seem real. Cuz like you guys I'm sure have seen the Paranormal Activity movies, and the whole thing about that is they're like recording and real stuff's happening in the house, so they make it look as real as possible and low budget and that sort of stuff. And I think sometimes with horror movies, less is more. I mean, especially if you're going for a good scare, less is more. Except for the Innkeepers, that too, you need a little something more in that one. It took forever to get anywhere, but I remember the Blair Witch Project, and they had this like amazing viral marketing before the internet was even a thing. They put up these posters of the like actors, and then took those off to like gave like put those up to make it seem like the actors had actually been lost because the actors weren't famous, not at the time. Some of them have gone on to do other things at this point, but at the time they were not famous at all. So that was like they took them and off they went. So that is like I think where my love of found footage horror movies comes from. And I mean, you see them nowadays and they make it seem as real, as plausible as they can for found footage because you kind of need a reason. Why am I filming every single thing that's happening in my life, right? So I mean, the new trend in horror movies is like YouTubers, because YouTubers are generally filming their whole lives to begin with. So the latest trend in found footage is like found footage YouTubers because they record their whole life. So that's like the latest trend in found footage. So that's kind of like I love me some found footage horror movies, and the reason I bring it up is because I was watching um, a couple again the other day. Grave, no, shoot, what was it? Can't remember now. Think of it, the facility, maybe. Anyway, the found footage horror, hands down, my favorite horror genre. And found footage is always a good one because it's like anyone can do a found footage. I mean, it's supposed to be scary, and less is more with found footage. Although it's not the like OG found footage film. If you really want to get into some technical specs of found footage movies, like they credit Blair Witch with being like the first found footage movie to like found the genre. And to be fair to Blair Witch, it kind of brings the genre in, but the OG found footage is Cannibal Holocaust, which I do not recommend finding. It's graphic. First off, it's graphic. It's very good. Lots of great practical effects to it. The one thing about it, it's actually like the animal deaths, because there's animal deaths in it, are real. Like it's legit real in these animal deaths. So I do not recommend watching Cannibal Holocaust unless you're like deep into the horror genre and you're into that sort of stuff. I do not recommend watching it. But the interesting thing about that is it had the whole premise of it is a film crew goes missing in the Amazon rainforest because they are like taken by this tribe, and they find the footage that this team of filmmakers had been making, and they go back and then they watch this footage, and then it shows them what happened to these filmmakers. And I won't we'll spoil it, like, I guess, a little bit for you, but they go back with these filmmakers, and the filmmakers were actually like, the natives were being really nice to them, so they actually kind of like big jerks to the natives, and then that ends up getting them obviously eaten because this is called Cannibal Holocaust. But the Italian director who did it, because this was late 70s, early 80s, I can't remember the exact day, he actually paid the actors to disappear for a year to make it seem more authentic that this had actually happened. They had been taken and eaten by this tribe, so he actually pays them to disappear for a year, to, you know, publicity and all that sort of thing. So they released the movie, and the public thinks that it's real. They think that this is legit, and this guy had filmed these people being eaten. So then the director's like scrambling to try and find the actors again to bring them back, because they want to take them to court, because it is illegal to show real death on camera. Actually, it's called a snuff film if you record someone actually dying and then being sold, or and then the footage then being sold as a film. I mean, it's illegal. You can't do that, and it's called a snuff film. And there's always like rumors circulating about snuff films, which is real life, and you get that too. It's like there's a series of Japanese horror movies in the 80s, the Guinea Pig series, and a lot of people thought that those were real because the special effects were so good, so they kept calling like the FBI about them. But anyway, so that's kind of an interesting like foray into the found footage genre. I know way too much about horror movies, way too much about horror movies. So this whole discussion has like taken a hard turn into territory that I hadn't really anticipated, but I do love found footage horror movies. I'm a big fan. If you're interested in found footage horror movies, I can always give you a list, because it's my favorite genre of horror movies, and I still think Blair Witch still holds, the original Blair Witch, not the second one. I didn't like the second one. The original Blair Witch holds a special place in my heart, because it is one of my favorites. OG, OG. The remake wasn't nearly as good, which is kind of a bummer. But I do really like the found footage genre. I've seen quite a few. If it's found footage, I'll watch it, whether it's good or not. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are like flat out terrible. There's one about Bigfoot one time I watched. Not good. Bigfoot. Bigfoot. Is a terrible movie. I don't like Bigfoot movies. I'm not a big fan of alien abduction either in the horror genre. That's another one that gets a lot like these alien abduction movies. I'm not a big fan of like alien horror. Like I love Aliens is great, but like alien abduction movies I'm not a fan of. I think those are weird. Like the fourth kind. Fourth kind was that was I can't remember what it's called, but it was not good. It was not good at all. Yeah, don't recommend alien abduction movies. Okay, so I have digressed enough for one day. Make sure you are posting your top 5 favorite YouTubers. Make sure you are getting yourselves finished up on your TV, because I'm going to be marking that today. So make sure you're getting your portfolios updated and everything's looking nice, and you guys are getting your work done, because marking is still happening. School is still happening, so make sure you're doing it. And while you're at it, stay safe. And if you are looking for found footage, then message me, because I can give you some found footage movies. All right, guys, that's it for me. Stay safe, and good time to start filmmaking. All right, guys, bye for now.